Hello, hello. Welcome to our channel. Another Saturday. Last week we've listened to Invincible, and there was a message in the song. And one of the keys to understand this message was a person, Pons de Leon. I wanted to thank you so much for all the comments because if it wasn't for you, I probably wouldn't grasp the actual message within the song. Pons de Leon, I had to Google it in our last video to see who he was. He was Spanish conquistador, but there is a myth surrounding him. Specifically, he was looking for the fountain of youth, and that was actually a common knowledge for quite a lot of you. But that's not something I was ever aware of, and I didn't know this person. It seems that you may not be aware if you've been raised and born in another continent. So thank you so much for this. I do feel that we touched a little bit. We didn't go too far, I'd say, from the interpretation though, because the song was about aging. It was a beautiful representation of the aging process. And I feel that we've touched upon the experiences that you can only understand as you grow in, the naivety that comes with your youth that you can only grasp after you have this understanding. We just didn't actually grasp that it was aging. That was the word that we wouldn't know if not for you. So thank you so much for this, for giving us this opportunity. As always, thank you so much for all our patrons. The link is under the video. And for today, we have two songs, one of them quite short. It is Legion Inoculant. And then we will listen to Descending.
Yeah, I would like to add just one thing about the last episode. So I think really after reading all the comments under the video, I think we weren't that close to the actual meaning or to the consensus of what the meaning is of that song. So I learned a lot by reading our comments. So I just wanted to say I really appreciate every comment, and that was really great experience
and helpful for us to understand. I mean, what I'm trying to say, I guess, is that we weren't too far off. We just couldn't really link it to the age, and again, we just didn't fully understood the one of the keys that was the Pons de Leon and the essence, I think, of this person and the importance of putting these words right there. So yeah, thank you so much. It brought a whole new perspective after we've uploaded the video and read through the comments. Just to let you know, to give you a bit of a schedule as well before we start, next week we'll listen to Numa. I know I've listened to it before, but next week the focus will be on something else, on the artistic part, on Carrie's drums. So I hope you will enjoy it. And for now, let's start with Legion Inoculant and then Descending.
Yeah, and as usual, I won't be taking any breaks between the songs. Is that correct?
Sure.
Okay.
This is actually a bit scary.
Really spacious. What's your first thought when you hear this?
Scary. descending.
Yeah.
Water? It's like an ocean.
Yeah, like water and wind.
So nice.
Our midnight, this epilogue of our own fable. Ripple through this boundlessness, this madness of our own making. Come hour, and suddenly all hail our lethargy, concede suddenly to the quicken, disillusion pray we mitigate the ruin, calling all to warmth and order. Drifting through this boundless
And sea again at the end, or the ocean.
Yeah, it's quite. It's. I think it says something.
I have so many thoughts, to be honest. This song made me like really, really emotional, especially as I was going through the lyrics. Um, I think I cooled down a little bit when there was this very long musical part at the end. But oh, again, I have so many thoughts. I almost felt descending through the music itself. The music was descending. That's how I felt. Like you fight until the end. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm right, but I feel like the song is about, dying.
Could be. Do you think like dying of individual? Because I think it's more like about dying of civilization or the whole species, kind of.
We can explore both things. It's just this. I feel that's why it made me emotional. It's like I felt the end and, the descent and time, the fight till the end, not to let go.
But the thing about the song starting with sea and wind and sea, and then ending with the same thing, I think it says like even after humans are dead or extinct, the sea is still there. The
The
nature is still
universe is
there.
gonna survive.
Everything's gonna keep going.
Oh, yeah, because would you agree that it is about dying? Either of the individual or the species, We can let's explore it. Maybe we should start though from the Legion Inoculant. It's gonna sound funny, but when I've looked into the title, I thought about the herd immunity. On the previous very short song that we've listened to, I think I meant to feel scared, but I didn't. And this one, I felt that the aim of it was kind of scary, and he also had there have been some words bless this immunity, so that was from previous song. Part of lyrics wasn't there in Legion Inoculant too. Almost as if
I think those words came from the first song from Fear Inoculum.
yeah, and just bless this immunity. So it's almost like don't forget about Fear Inoculum or Inoculum in general throughout as you're going through the album.
Yeah.
But then we have the Descendant, and now when I see the Invincible as the expression of the process of aging, Descendant makes even more perfect sense for me if I feel like the song is about the process of dying, really, of ending, living in the world.
Okay, yeah, like I said, my first thoughts were more like general about like dying civilization and things as such.
That's nice. Try to explore it because I linked it like kind of naturally. It all started making sense, as I was going through the lyrics and listening to it, and also I found it quite emotional in that sense.
So my thought process was so I thought that because I guess I often seen like the we, our, us, those kind of words. So this I think biased me into thinking that it is about some group is dying, not just an individual.
You may be right though, because
The epilogue of our own fable.
yeah, I wouldn't say
Heedless in
dying. Maybe it's just as you and your consciousness, or you just expressing.
or maybe something dying, like some culture, some just one chapter, maybe something like that.
And that would fit quite nicely, your interpretation with the waves, like you said, in the sea, at the beginning and then at the end.
Yeah.
Oh, bear with us. I think we have some noise somewhere. Can you hear it? Oh, I think it was
it's
a
fine
phone.
now.
Flying mode. Remember when we recorded?
About flying, there was
Falling isn't flying.
falling isn't flying, exactly. I think that's amazing thought for analysis.
Falling isn't flying.
What do you think it means? Like,
For me, to be honest, it can be so deep because it is a deep metaphor, and falling isn't flying. So if you like, if you feel that the song is about dying, about ending life, is there anything after? Is there anything waiting for us? Christians, for example, would believe there is. So falling is actually flying for them, is it? In that sense,
Oh,
it will allow them to fly because they will discover, infinity,
I see what you mean.
divine. But
My
what if
thoughts
falling
were
isn't flying and there's actually nothing? That was type of a thing I was going to. Sorry, it's just a bit emotional for me, kind of to discuss. It's
I think we I think I took completely different like path into that song because for me the falling isn't flying means completely something different, something like
explore.
too much of maybe too much of freedom, let's say, but I don't mean exactly freedom. I just lack the better word. Too much freedom. You feel like you've got so
Mhm.
much freedom that you're flourishing, but really you're falling.
Mm.
So you feel like you're flying, but really you are falling out of existence.
Or maybe, oh,
Because he later says something about order. So I don't know. For me, it's more like more in this type of situation. But it's so complex. Like
but the thing is, you look from slightly different angle. You
yeah,
took the song completely differently. Sorry, from the outset. And if you're looking at something more social, more big in that sense, then sorry, I still hear this noise.
yeah. If it
I don't
ends
know.
up being on the recording, we apologize. We have no idea what it is.
Do you know when you can hear the phone, the signal in the microphone? That's what I hear, and I can't locate it. We have nothing.
Yeah,
Everything
we
is in the.
always have our phones on
Ah,
without any networking, so they
apologies.
shouldn't interfere.
It is a bit annoying though because I really want to kind of deep into the song, and I'm losing my thought when I hear it. But let's try to continue. I think it stopped for now. Okay. So as I was saying, I think we just took this song completely differently. You from the perspective of from this more social aspect, or not
Yeah.
even so the human, the whole as a universal whole maybe, and the process of human beings, right? I looked from. I really linked this song to the Invincible and the way you are aging, the way that you are not a strong warrior as you used to be, and then you have descendants, so it's almost as a countdown till your last moments. And that's how I took Descendant really, as this countdown, as the countdown till your last minutes and then seconds of life, And what kind of struck me out was that in the song itself, at the end part, after whole lyrics ended, I almost felt this descending, this kind of boom, boom, like a descending, like the time is fine, but you're still kind of fighting. You kind of grasping your breath, you can say. But then you had to finally let it go, and all we can hear at the end is the sea, just the nature, because you are gone. Oh, sorry. That's why I felt it is quite emotional for me. But I may be wrong. It's just how I took it, and I don't think
I think how you took it is always right. I mean,
it's not always
no,
right.
I mean that's the purpose of the song to make you feel things, and if you feel this way, the song accomplished you changing your mood and so on. So
Yeah.
I, yeah,
But let's try to look from your angle though, because at the end of the day, let's try to kind of interpret it, because it may as well be. And I'm saying dying, and I keep thinking about this individual dying, right? In that sense, but
so why do you think he says our, us, we, the plural
because
form?
you know why when I was looking at the lyrics, point me out to some specifics, but yeah, steer us from our wanton slumber, mitigate our ruin, call us all to arms and order. So for me, I felt that it's here on purpose, because when I think about the process of dying, or someone really old, having their last moments, it's probably common because from the movies, right? But that's how I see it and visualize it in a sense, that in that moment you kind of know, you feel the ending is coming, and you you see the images from your life that are relating to other people. So there's always us that you try to recollect or recall before your last moments.
Okay, I
So
can.
so that's how I would take our. I didn't for a moment think, even though he said steer us from our, I was still thinking about the internal struggle.
Okay,
You
but
know,
so I'm trying to like disprove your
yeah,
hypothesis,
because
and
it's just it flown from the way I took the song, probably
sure.
from the beginning, and that's how I build it up,
Yeah, so if you can
my
try
interpretation.
defending your interpretation. So why would you say he says that it is possible to still mitigate it while our life uh, is gonna finish, right? You cannot become immortal, so you cannot mitigate dying. But here I
Mhm.
can see like hope that it can be saved. That's why
Mhm.
probably I don't think about it as
Mhm.
an
Mhm.
individual death.
Yeah, and you may be actually right in here because I focus on words such as cease to be, stay alive, um, and then I took the mitigate our ruin or cause all arms and order as some kind of self-reflection and visualizing the images from your past.
Hmm.
So that's how I took it, but it may as well be completely different, and actually that can be quite interesting as well. Um, Let me try to think, because it is a bit hard if the song makes you feel a certain way and then you're
Sure,
trying to,
of course.
but then mitigate our ruin. If you would look from the chorus arms, but then that comes in the song more than one occasion. So
Call
it's
us all. That's again like quite clear plural for me. So like all of us.
mhm. if if we're looking as society that got really rotten, that have values upside down.
Or have no values. That's why
Yeah,
I'm thinking like falling.
yeah, yeah.
Falling is not flying. So you have no values. So you feel free. That's why I used the word freedom before, but I don't like this word in this context. But when you have no values, you feel completely free. But really, you're not flying. You're falling, right? That's my
Yeah.
premise on that.
And as the society, as the history of human civilization told us, we have these ups and downs, and you can kind of visualize the circles that we have the idea or thesis, then antithesis, and then the synthesis comes out of it, like Hegel, I believe, mentioned. And that's the point where we are at this antithesis stage at the very end, yet we can still mitigate this ruin and we can synthesize it into something better. And as history shows, we have war after war, then we have the good times, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of the circle of human civilization or of life, right? So in that sense, that would be quite interesting, yes. And I think I agree as well that it fits here. It's just not how it made me feel.
I mean, I'm not, I don't know what to say. I don't want you to. I don't want to persuade you that you
Oh,
feel the
you
wrong
don't have
way.
to
That's
persuade me because I see. I think I'm starting seeing a bit more what you're trying to say, and I do agree with this as well. But after first listen, I think I'm just choosing to stick to my interpretation purely because that's how I genuinely felt like it,
okay.
really. So
What do you think about the pretty much half of the song was just music, wasn't it?
yeah,
I think it was like for me it was like I was reflecting the first half of the song, and that was really good music for reflection. I really liked that.
yes, and you know what? Because obviously, in the previous songs, there have been times when it happened and we didn't know when it's gonna finish. So I was kind of expecting a while. I was expecting the finish quite a few times, and there was still more and more of it. And then when I kind of stopped thinking about, oh my god, when it's gonna end, because it feels like it's gonna end in a sec. When I stopped thinking about this, essentially, I kind of felt this actually descending, the song descending, and I almost felt like this final struggle you are going through. Like you want to survive. That's why it's taken longer. You think it's finishing, yet you are still there. You like grasping for your last breath, right? And it's still going and going and going. And that been my kind of feelings in relation to this song.
I just had one weird thought. I think often surviving uh, is not obvious. So I watched like couple months ago, probably. I watched like
Mhm.
a video of guy who was trying to record how to get out of what's it called, quicksand, uh,
Okay.
and he actually
Oh my
died.
god, I've seen this video.
Yeah,
I think it's really old one.
it
Oh, it's
was like
horrible.
15 minutes video of him struggling and dying. And as far as I know,
And I think he was alone when he recorded this, so there was
yeah,
literally no one to help him. They later found
yeah, but what I'm
the
trying,
video.
yeah, it was
Oh, sorry.
quite bad video. I mean,
Mhm.
very bad. But what I was trying to say is that in the case of quicksands, as far as I know, the best way to survive is to not struggle, is to be calm and trying to like swim up, kind
Yeah.
of, because so you will be taken up by the sand itself. It's almost like you're in fluid. So in this case, and it's the same feeling I have in this song, that you have to mitigate our ruin, call us all to arms and order. So so maybe we have to do something non-obvious in order to be safe. Maybe we have to do something counterintuitive. I don't know. That's just a thought. That's
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you here. I'm just gonna add something that obviously don't. We are not any type of experts as to how to get away from quicksands. Don't listen to us, because obviously we don't have expert knowledge. And I've actually, after this video, it was quite traumatizing. Traumatizing. I
I can
watched how to
recommend.
get out, and I think you can actually slowly. You can't just not move. You need to slowly try to move your both legs up, and then just move with your hands. It is quite tricky, and yeah,
I could
just watch the specialist. Will
I could recommend avoiding quicksands.
yes, just avoid them. That was on a different note, okay. Because I don't think if you wouldn't move, you wouldn't end up in the quicksand. So, but yeah, we are not the experts. But in terms of survival itself, I do agree with you. Of course, I agree, but I just don't think that was that would be relevant in this song, the way of survival. Because even if you shouldn't struggle, or even when the survival requires you to struggle, it still takes time. You still have this will to survive, and that's what this descending was in this sense. This showing that's how I'm thinking now, actually.
As an individual, I agree, but maybe the rules for surviving of the civilization isn't the same as surviving of the one person. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's way too complex to even start talking about it, to be honest. So it's very hard. It's just my first thoughts when I'm reading
Mhm.
through the lyrics, and after listening to that song, those are
Yeah.
just my like
So,
loose thoughts.
but they are right, and especially mitigate our ruin. So you can. What is mitigation? It's actually taking certain steps to avoid making the ruin even bigger, not necessarily to recover. So mitigate our ruin, maybe in the sense that don't add up anything else to it. Call us all to arms and order.
Actually, mitigate is definition from dictionary is make something, assuming something bad, less severe, less serious, or less painful. So
Yeah, so not necessarily understood as let's try to fix it, right? It's just don't make this ruin any bigger ruin that it is already. So it's not actually interlinked to actually, getting out and trying to survive and evolving into something better at the end, if that makes sense.
okay, but then it's mentioned that that madness, which I think is that what led to that ruin, this madness is of our own making. So we made some mistakes. So I
Yes.
think, like, when you think how to mitigate that ruin, you have to know how you ended up here, why you ended up here, so you don't make those mistakes again.
Or try to not to repeat those mistakes because
Yeah.
certain you just can't fix. I don't think it's more of a fixing. I still because
But
now
still,
I'm trying to approach it slightly differently and look from this universal perspective. As, like you said from the beginning, at the end we still have the sea, the nature will survive, etc. But all I see really is just trying not to make the situation any worse. The more I'm thinking of it, as a humankind, we put ourselves in such a bad state that all we can do now is just try to maintain what left.
I think I see what you mean now. And further verses, stay the grand finale, stay the reading of our swan song and epilogue. That was pretty hard part of the song, very emotional, I think, when he was singing those verses. And so it's like the grand finale will come anyway, but maybe let's just try to stick up until that time comes and see how it goes. Like,
And try to mitigate everything in the meantime. So try to not to make the situation any worse than it is, and try to maintain what's still left. You know.
and
If-
maybe
and
maybe
I really
that's
like this interpretation.
and maybe that's even a little bit more dark. Maybe what he's singing is the civilizations before always came to an end, right? And just before they
You mean
ended,
civilization after civilization? You
Yes,
mean
yes.
throughout history?
and
Okay,
just
gotcha.
before the grand finale, just before they actually ended, they actually seen, like, there were people who saw it ending. There were people who were ringing the bells, ringing the alarms. They still ended, and maybe what he's saying is there will be people who will see this coming. It still will end regardless. Like, there's no, it's inevitable.
Yeah, yeah. So actually, I would I think we've kind of shifted your interpretation slightly, haven't we? Because it actually has slightly different reflection on the humankind as bad and degrading, as putting for the actions the humankind into ruin, but it's call for mitigation.
And I would,
It's called to save what left
or
because the end is coming.
to be a more thorough observer, so you can kind of egoistically observe better, to just take them, like in vicarious, to live through someone's experiences. If you know better the mechanisms how it's happening, you can just observe how it's happening and just take some weird pleasure from it.
Maybe that's why at the end he says call us all to arms and order. So that's what he mean maybe by the order, to kind of understand the reasons and all these actions to make kind of sense out of it. Really interesting. I think we have I think it's nice that we have these two different interpretations. I like both of them, but again, my first thought was completely different in reference to the individual pain and death and dying. And for me, it was really interlinked to Invincible. Yet on the other hand, we have completely different aspect of descending in this humankind, this humankind aspect, you can say, and the way we as humans progressed and the way we are driving the world to ruin, maybe.
Just another thought for the end. But maybe we need to descend in order to later progress. That's another kind of dark thought. It's something like some trees. I know you have to cut them so they can grow even better. I don't know exact mechanism how it works, but I know you have to like cut some
Kind of
branches.
refreshing them, I
Yeah,
think.
maybe I'm just trying to link this a little bit.
Yeah, well, many scientists and many really smart people would agree with you. I think it is like a common theme that in order to progress, something needs to reach the end, right? And that's the only way we can progress. So it is also a common theme in philosophy and in science as well. But regardless of this, I feel that we can take the sentence as some kind of maybe reflection on the way or on. Would you agree where we are and where we got to through our actions as a humankind?
Yeah, I would agree exactly. Exactly the part of our actions that's quite big because the madness of our own making.
Ah, I really, really enjoyed this. I think I won't be able to listen to it right away. That's type of the song that is really emotional for me, and I need a bit of time before I can listen to it again
I also wonder how it would go if you were to listen Invincible and Descending just
together.
yeah, because you referenced Invincible quite a few times.
Yeah, and it crossed my mind actually, but I think I need a bit of a break to kind of calm down, or cool off. I don't know what's the proper how to properly express the way I feel right now. But yeah, I will definitely listen to the song again. It is a really, really, really good song, really deep lyrics that that can express a lot. I hope you enjoyed the reaction. Next week's reaction will be slightly different, as I've mentioned at the beginning, but the focus will be on something else. I'm not any expert, any music type of expert, but I will do my best to, you know, to provide my observations on the drumming aspect of Numa. And would you like to add anything before the end?
Just that I'm not any kind of expert on drumming topic at all. Like I can probably just appreciate his because I already watched this, so I can appreciate like athletics because you need a lot of physique in order to sustain probably
Okay.
that so many movements.
Don't say too much
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
we're gonna have a proper go next week. And yes, see you next week. Thank you for watching.